Welcome back to the podcast. Today, we're going to talk about the 5 things that you should never donate to any type of thrift store. If you have bags packed, ready to go, please hold up. Because just because you're donating them doesn't mean it's actually a good thing. Sometimes you're just shifting the burden from you to someone else. I'll explain more about that later. If you're new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Flora Sage, certified simplification coach and 7-time author. And for over 28 years, I've been helping women like you align into a life and a business that you are wildly obsessed with by helping you clear out the 9 types of clutter. So we're going to kick off this podcast with a statistic. According to Goodwill, over 60% of what's donated is either unusable or ends up being trashed by them. That's not decluttering. That's actually outsourcing your trash to someone else. So today, I want to help you to really look at what you should not be donating ever. And that way you can declutter consciously and take responsibility for where your stuff goes next. So here are the 5 things that you should never ever donate. The first one is broken or damaged items. I want you to think like appliances that don't work, shoes with holes in them, furniture that's wobbly or has missing pieces. Why not donate these? Because some people could say, well, if it's wobbly, somebody could fix it. It's a fixer-upper. It's great. But donation centers usually won't and typically never repair things. So if it can't be sold or used immediately, it will get trashed. Instead of donating things like this, think about, possibly recycling them at your city's bulk recycling. This usually involves literally everything from mattresses to furniture to appliances or metal scrap items. There's all kinds of things that cities typically will take for those bulk recycling days or those bulk trash days. The next thing is that you can do instead of this is contact your local fix-it programs. These are places that typically will refurbish furniture, refurbish things that maybe it's like a toaster that probably should work, but you're not really quite sure what's going on with it. It's a good quality toaster. There are places that will look at things and handyman that can fix these items for people in need. And then if it's trash, just own it. Say, you know what, this is trash, I'm gonna just throw it away. Holding on to broken items often reflects a fear of waste, but when you keep it or you pass it along when it's in bad condition, you're not saving the planet. You're just moving around the guilt and you're moving around the responsibility of that broken item. All right, moving on to number 2, expired food and expired toiletries. I want you to think canned goods, like from the back of your pantry, old vitamins, expired sunscreens or lotions. Why not donate these? Well, food pantries and shelters are legally required to throw out expired foods. And if it's like a week from expiration, chances are they're still going to throw it out because who knows how long it's going to be on the pantry shelf. You're literally just giving them another decision to make when you can just make it yourself. Instead of donating expired food and expired toiletries, compost the food if you can. And this is a cool thing. When I was doing research for this video on how to dispose of expired items, I actually discovered that expired lotions and oils, including sunscreens, some sunscreens, you can actually use to polish and shine leather as well as furniture and wood items. I'm like, that is exciting. So you can use those to polish things and then rinse out the tube if it's recyclable. If not, then again, just toss it. Expired stuff is not a resource. It's a waste product. Remember that. All right, number 3 is used undergarments or socks. I am actually guilty of this one. This is something, again, in my research, when I was contacting local thrift stores and whatnot, that was one of the things that they get all the time is bras, underwear, and socks, as well as like, what are they called? Jock straps for men and boys. So even if you've only worn them once, if they're not in the original packaging, they will throw them out. And the reason why that they throw them out is these are considered hygiene items, and most thrift stores won't even process them. They see them and they go literally straight into the trash. Like I said, unless they're in the original packaging and are brand new. So what can you do with them instead? You could cut them up for cleaning rags, depending on the size and the texture. You can also bag them up and take them to any type of textile recycling place. I know that H&M has it. If you have, well, yeah, it just depends on your area. Some places will accept them, like some big donation places actually have textile recycling. Many don't. So call around in your area. But like I said, H&M, I know, still has a textile recycling centers that they will accept those. Some nonprofits do also accept clean, gently used bras for redistribution. But again, please check your local initiatives because often these will just end up in the trash. Now, if you are keeping a drawer full of worn out underwear just in case, I want you to ask yourself, what are you preparing for exactly? Like, what is that just in case moment that you would actually wear the bra that has no elastic or the underwear that has a hole in it? In what scenario would you actually pull that out and say, okay, yes, I'm ready to wear this? Comfort comes from quality, not quantity, okay? All right, moving on to number 4, monogrammed or personalized items. Just say no. Just say no. I want you to think about like a towel with your initials on it, or team shirts from sports, or like sports meaning, bowling leagues, pickleball leagues, you name it, any type of sports, anything. And also like mugs with your name on it, notebooks with your name on it, anything with your name or anything that's personalized that is very specific to a certain team or a certain niche that isn't a global or national brand, okay? Why not donate these items? Again, this was something that I was very surprised about when I called all of these thrift stores, and they said that if something has somebody's name on it, it rarely, if ever, gets sold. It literally will just sit on the shelf until it's been there for however long, and then they actually end up throwing it away as well. So what can you do instead of donating these particular items? You can actually repurpose them. So towels and shirts, use as rags or pet bedding or a car cleaning cloth, just depending on the texture of it. For personalized mugs, you can use as like a pen holder. You can use as a makeup brush holder. You can use as a planter for plants, woohoo. More propagation, more plants. But, and for sentimental stuff that you really just don't want to keep, but you really don't want to fully part with it, take a photo. Take a photo so that you have the photo and then say thank you and let it go. And this letting it go means actually throwing it away, okay? If you can recycle the things that you have, recycle it. But most of these things are actually not recyclable. So this is where the emotional clutter creeps in. A lot of you don't want to waste a memory or waste the money that was spent or the resource that was spent on that particular item. But I want you to recognize that the resource is already spent. You already have the mug or the towel or whatever. And if it's a true memory, that memory is going to live within you forever. So you don't need the mug to be able to hold on to that memory. Again, you can take a photo of it and then periodically just scroll through and be like, oh, yay, whatever. But that is emotional clutter at its finest, that can get in the way of you being able to let stuff go and make more space in your life. Moving on to number 5, old electronics and random cables. Trust me when I say this, every single household, including mine, has a box of electronics and random cables that you're holding onto just in case. Now, in my case, I use them a couple of times a year. If it's been more than 2 years, I get rid of it simply because I'm not using it. Now, why not donate old electronics and random cables? Well, typically donation centers can't test to see if the old electronics actually work without risk, because sometimes you plug one in, sparks fly, and maybe a fire starts. So this usually becomes their e-waste. Random cables that they're not quite sure what they go to, they typically get trashed. So what do you do with these things instead? The first thing is you can actually take them to a certified e-waste recycling drop-off. Best Buy is the one that we typically go to. You can also go to Staples. And again, I mentioned this earlier, you can also do local citywide events. There are some community centers that will accept old electronics. I actually had a client one time who had several gaming systems that she donated to a local community shelter. I love that. It's so fun. But again, if it works, it has all the moving parts, think creatively on ways that you can donate those things. But the random things like the old electronics, that do they work? Do they not work? What is this random cable to? Again, you can just donate the entire thing to Best Buy, Staples, or any other place in your area that does e-waste recycling. Now that you've heard all 5, what's the one thing that you thought that you could donate that you realized that you actually shouldn't? Post it in the comments below. I want to end this podcast with a quote from Peter Walsh, and he said, "Clutter is not just stuff on your floor. It's anything that stands between you and the life that you truly want to be living. This includes that donation pile. Be intentional with what you pass along and what you finally put to rest in e-waste, in recycling, or just in the trash." Remembering, decluttering doesn't just mean getting stuff out of sight. It means handling your stuff consciously and letting go fully. Not just shifting the decision to somebody else, not just saying, oh, I just want it out of my space. Somebody else can make the decision whether to recycle it, throw it away, yada, yada. Give yourself permission to just say, you know what, this is trash. I'm going to throw it away. This needs to be fixed. I'm going to see if a free cycle person wants it. Or you know what? This is actually in very good condition and I can actually donate that. If you're not on my email list, click the link below, sign up. Every single week, I share with you really insightful tips, our weekly quote, and also I share some really fun things that we're doing together as a community. Right now, we are building a group of 90-day decluttering sprint participants who, as a group, are going to declutter their spaces for the next 90 days. So if you're interested in that, click the newsletter link below this video and below on the podcast, depending on where you're consuming this particular piece of content. And I will see you back here next week and hopefully in your inbox. Mwah.